Since news only happens once in a blue moon, I decided to give you a weekly update daily. This is, of course, my new show. I'll probably do an animation show eventually. But I think we can start with science, because I love science. You like science? But I do, too. Speaking of science, I found a few good stories over the weekend you probably want to hear. So let's get started. As a solar-powered Juno spacecraft lifted off from Cape Canaveral Friday, August 5th, 2011, began a 5-year journey to Jupiter. Juno's detailed study of the largest planet in the solar system will help reveal Jupiter's origin and evolution. Today, with the launch of Juno spacecraft, NASA begins a journey to yet another new frontier, noted NASA Administrator Charles Bolden. The future exploration includes cutting-edge science like this to help us better understand our solar system and an ever-increasing array of challenging destinations. After Juno's launch, aboard Letz's 5 rocket, mission controllers are now awaiting telemetry data from the spacecraft, indicating that it achieved its proper orientation. That is massive solar array, that's the biggest in NASA history, that deployed and gaining power. Too bad the space shuttle has ended, but it feels good that NASA is still doing science in space and launching missions. Good job, NASA! Seth MacFarlane is currently teaming up with Carl Sagan's widow and some physicists by the name of Stephen Soter and Neil deGrasse Tyson are going to produce a brand new sequel to the Cosmos science series. Yes, MacFarlane is making Cosmos. Series titled Cosmos: A Space-Time Odyssey is, according to the press release, story of how human beings began to comprehend the laws of nature and to find our place in space and time. So, what do you think of MacFarlane's work? And Drewison, so you can do it? Who would just say? Let's say no. A 13-part series will be aired on Fox. That's right, Fox. Starting in 2013. Well, since science has been a little lacking on mainstream television lately, despite the Discovery networks, saying Fox carry Cosmos. Probably the best thing that happened to television lately. Godspeed to the crew of the new Cosmos. Let's see if this is something that's worth the name. Another in the we all knew this category. Biologists from the University of Texas at Austin, Louisiana State University Health Services Center, and the Smithsonian Tropical Research Institute have observed that female cognitive ability can limit how melodious or handsome males come over time. Males across the animal kingdom have evolved elaborate traits to attract females, from huge peacock tails to complex bird songs and frog calls. Whatever you guys, humans, have done. But what keeps them from getting more colorful feathers, longer tails, or whatnot? Predators, of course. Increased elevation can attract predators, and placing an enormous cost to these sexy males. However, in a new paper appearing in Science this weekend, a group of biologists have shown that females can also limit the evolution themselves. Studying frogs, they found that females lose their ability to detect differences in male mating habits and calls, as those calls become more elaborate. We have shown that female brain have evolved to process some kinds of information, but not others. This is Mike Ryan, professor of integrative biology at the University of Texas at Austin, and this limits the evolution of those signals. A good analogy for this is the difference in noticing the differences between a group of 5 oranges and a group of 6. In contrast, the same difference between, say, a set of 100 oranges to 101 oranges. At a glance, you could quickly notice that the 6 groups has one more orange than the 5 group, but you might not notice the extra orange between the 100 and 101 sets. Now, this may be a small help to guys out there who are trying to attract that girl of their dreams. This study is just another example of why you should be yourself and nothing more. And after all, the more you do, the less that girl is going to see you. How about that? Are you ready for optical computers? That's right, my friends. Those fun-loving boys and girls at the California Institute of Technology, that's Caltech, by the way, are paving the way for next generation computer chips. Photonic chips! Yes, right. Computer chips that run on light. With integrated circuits that use light, electricity, photonic chips will allow for faster computers and less data loss when connected to global fiber optic networks. In a paper published in the August 5th issue of the journal Science, researchers describe a new technology for creating photonic chips, which is isolated light, which solved a long-standing engineering roadblock. You see, isolated light can only travel in one direction. If light were isolated, signals sent and received between different components could interfere with each other. In effect, the Caltech technique and plan is to create a photonic analog to electronic diodes. The device they are referring to as optical isolators. If you're a computer enthusiast, this is great news. You'll be able to run your applications and hardware at the speed of light. Science has finally confirmed what we all knew. People in the South have smaller brains. According to a new study by Oxford University, the farther you live from the equator, the bigger your brains are, and eyes. Unfortunately, this is not because you're smarter, but because people in the north need bigger eyes to cope with the low light levels. Scientists have found that people living in countries with dull, gray, cloudy skies and long winters have evolved bigger eyes and brains so they can visually process what they see, according to a journal Biology Letters. The research measured the eye sockets and brain cavities of 55 skulls dating from the 1800s. Researchers measured the eye sockets and brain volumes of 55 skulls, dating from the 1800s. Skulls represented 12 different populations from around the globe. When the volumes were plotted against the latitude of the center point of each individual's country of origin, the researchers found that the two sets of data were directly correlated. Now, please note that these findings are genetically agnostic. It does not matter who your ancestors were. All that matters is where you were born. So if you live in the north, you have bigger brains than you people that live in the south. It's in the northern hemisphere anyway. It's probably opposite fact in the southern hemisphere. Now you know. That, my friends, is my first episode of Weird Science News. That was a weird name. I'll try to get hold of it eventually. Until but, that's all I can say for today. There's no news. Listen to all my news channels. So, I'll talk to you next week. Remember, weird science happens every plank second. So keep your eye open. Laters. End.